So I guess for everybody tuning in, this is the Lo-Finer Things. A club, a collective, a group of weird degenerates from different corners of the internet that I guess just share like a common fascination, love, hype, fixation, intrigue, interest in lo-fi in general, we'll call it. I'm crookedfoot. The dude next to me on the screen is Khal Kappa, and then we have Whitley 360.
Happy to be here.
Aren't we all though? Like, this is such a dope idea.
A long time in the making.
Right? Just a little bit of thought and process.
It feels like it was a lot more than it actually has been. Like, I know we've been chatting about this for probably the better part of like a month and a half, 2 months. And now we're actually here. Like, it's kind of surreal to actually be recording this in a sense, because here we are. So I don't want to talk about myself first. So Khal, why don't you kick off the introductions really quick?
Well, hello friends. I'm Khal Kappa, weird producer of lo-fi hip-hop and other odd style music over on Vancouver Island, Western Canada. I don't got much else about myself other than I just make weird music, and I hope you'll enjoy it. But I do have this wonderful friend named Whitley.
I'm Whitley 360. I am a volunteer community radio DJ on 91.3 FM, CJTR, that's Regina Community Radio. I've been doing that for about a year. What got me into radio was my love for music in general. On my show, I play, it's called Lunar Lounge. It's a mix of like lo-fi, chill hop, neo soul, electronic pop, those kind of niche genres. And some people say I'm a bit of like a music guru, but really I just love sharing awesome tunes with people and connecting with fellow music lovers like yourselves.
I think that's why we're all here, is we all share that common love for this culture specifically, but it expands to all different forms of music. Khal, I know you were in a band like prior to being a lo-fi producer.
That was like 2008, 2009 when I was playing metal with my buddies.
So what did you do in between? Because I only stumbled across you
Nothing.
in like mid 2022, 2023, I think, beginning of. So you literally did nothing in between.
No, man.
That's crazy.
Just listen to music all the time, and then one day I'm like, I'm gonna buy a fucking MIDI keyboard again.
And here you are.
Yeah, I can't stop now.
And it's addicting, right? So like, but that's kind of like myself too. I guess I should also pivot off of that and introduce myself. Crookedfoot, formerly retired music producer turned unretired music producer, lo-fi fanatic, lover of all things kind of like dusty, grimy, dirty, huge fan of just the culture in general and a lot of the people within it, I guess you could say. It took slipping on some ice and absolutely mangling my foot and ankle and lower leg in order to get here, but I'm super happy to be here. But prior to that, like, much like you, Khal, like, it was 2 years of doing nothing in between. I got sick of selling beats and trying to chase placements, and I just decided like I wanted to be the artist now. So here we are.
Right.
And
it feels
now,
so good.
Can I talk about the origin story of how I connected with both of you, but like didn't know that you guys knew each other?
This is like the beginning of like, everyone's always like the redemption arc or like your villain era or something. This is just like, to me, the beginning of something really, really dope. And the stories behind it, I'm sure as we continue like episodes and uncover more, are gonna be like ridiculous.
I feel like you're gonna need to like mad edit this though.
Nah, keep going. No edits
Okay.
at all, unless it's absolutely blundersome.
Well, like when I started Lunar Lounge, I didn't really take into account like how hard it was going to be to do like CanCon representation for my show, like meeting my quota for SoCal and stuff. And like I have to log every show, right? Like, so I didn't know any lo-fi artists that were Canadian. Like I honestly did not when I started. Like I love lo-fi, but I didn't know where any of these artists were from because, you know, you don't really look into that as just a listener a lot of the times, right?
Oh, 100%.
As versus like an artist might look into where like another artist is because you're connecting with them, right?
Time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, time zones, exactly.
So I started my, you know, I'm gonna start building this list because I tried Googling it and I didn't really come up with any results, which leads me into how I found Crookedfoot to start. Or was it Kappa first? I forget. It was around the same time though. I found Crookedfoot on Reddit on a lo-fi post for Canadian artists. I also found Montreal Chill Panic that same time. Another Canadian, I don't really want to call him lo-fi. I don't know how would you describe his music? He's pretty eccentric with genres.
I was gonna say it's eccentric. I would almost lean more into
like IDM almost, or like it's ambient and eccentric. It's a little
like,
industrial though.
Yes, and still like super dope. Like shout out to Montreal Chill Panic.
Yeah, shout out to Montreal Chill
Incredible
Panic.
artist.
He's such a beauty.
He is. Anyway, so I saw that you were on there and I looked you up on Instagram because you said like check me out on Instagram. And then in Khal Kappa, I was just like, okay, what if there's like a Canadian lo-fi hashtag? And you were like the only one using it.
That's what you gotta do.
And I was like, this guy's awesome. And it was the Lavender Town. I love Ghastly. Like I have a tattoo of Ghastly on my arm. Like I was like, oh my God. I just fell in love with your music instantly. I thought you were just such a adorable little person. And I was so happy when like we connected and you were so friendly to me, like right off the hop. Crookedfoot too. You recognized my potential so quickly and it was really awesome. And it's been great getting to know you guys.
She called you a cute little munchkin, bro.
He was.
Oh, I am. I can't help
A
it.
cute little Kappa.
Just a cute
Right?
little gnome, little Kappa. But that's like speaking on like the Canadian lo-fi hashtag, like that's also like such an up and down thing to use for social media. Like you want to be one of the few people using a certain hashtags for exactly that reason, is because nobody else uses it. You'll get a lot more exposure if somebody happens to like stumble across it. The downside to it is like I never would have thought to use like Canadian lo-fi as a hashtag on any of my posts. So I stay getting buried on like all the top posts and like the really popular ones because I use like lo-fi hip hop, chill hop, chill beats, and like all of like the go-tos that are dominated by guys like Oh Ricky, the Rec Show podcast, Before Lasers, DiBiase, and it almost feels like at times, like on top of being like a lo-fi producer, you also have to be a content creator and you have to find ways to put out really cool content or you're just gonna get buried under the hashtags. And that's one of the things that I strayed away from because I stopped doing that. I did all of that when I wanted to sell beats and chase placements and all of that. But now that I've found like such a natural love for the music and beat culture and everything through my injuries, it's something that I actually enjoy doing. Like when I was filming content for Joey, that beat tape, like there's a couple that were just like as simple as like the camera slowly zooming in as I'm like laying on the couch reading a book, petting my dog named Joey. Like perfect content. People love dogs, people love lo-fi. Like cool, this should get a couple of clicks, this will be great. And now here we are, like a year later, and I'm just like, damn, I put out not just a lot of beats last year, but like a lot of content. My content right now that does the best is when I'm like ragging on Spotify, which is one of my favorite things to do, apparently. Pay your artists.
You're not wrong with your ragging on Spotify, though.
I'm not, and that's one of the reasons why I have like such a deep appreciation for Whitley and what she does, is why she chooses to do it, the light that she sheds on Canadian, I don't even want to say just lo-fi hip-hop, but just like the lo-fi genre in general, the ambient artists, some of the more eclectic features that she's had on her show is like, because there's a quota to meet for CanCon artists, she goes out and she finds like really dope artists to feature on her show. And so the reason I ended up on there is because I seen you on there, Khal, and we've touched on this before. Like,
my cousins here remember this.
And then he slides into my DMs.
I'm in there and I'm just like, well, because like in my head I'm like, yo, I make dope ass beats like this, dude.
And I'd already checked you out. That's the thing. I was already planning on it.
Which is crazy. And so like the timing of it, everything that we've done leading up to this point has just seemed like so well timed and like right when it's supposed to be. I have no doubts that like the podcast is gonna be something entirely. And I know we've also kind of chatted about branching off and like doing a collective and seeing what can possibly come of that. And like these are all things I've seen other artists do that I'm just like, yo, I found the people that I want to do it with now.
Dude, 100%.
And what better name than the low finer things?
Oh, it hits so right.
It does.
That name is fire. Like I'm always a huge fan of people that kind of like play off of something or find a way to make something really, really dope sound like something I'm familiar with before. I was listening to an interview with DiBiase one time, and they're talking on a lot of his beats. You'll hear like the tag where it's like the green llama, and they were talking about it on the interview, and it was back when he was still rapping, or he was in a group with some rappers and he was doing the beats, and the tag, he's like, it just made sense, man, because like a llama spits on everything. I was like, yo, I was like, that is crazy. I was like, that's the most like wild thing that you could possibly tie into. And I'm just like, not only does that sound sick, but like it goes so hard.
That's so beautiful. I'm just waiting to the day I find some kind of Japanese vinyl record where they just say Kappa. That's all I need.
That'd be beautiful.
My day will come.
Talk to Astro Milhen, or however you say his name.
Dude, that guy's beats are so
He's
crazy.
Fire. He's wild. I love him.
He's such a cool dude too.
And he's like so appreciative. Anytime I tune in his live stream, he's like, thank you so much for taking the time to check me out. It means so much to me. I was like, no problem, guy.
What he comes up with in his studio is so crazy to me. Like the beats are so insane.
And he's just such like a weird eclectic mix of sounds too, but it's fire.
Everything he uses, the reels that he makes sometimes with all those different instruments, I'm just like, dude, I want to come visit.
And he's just casually like dusting it off his keyboard or like sipping tea in the content too. Like it's the best. And this is exactly why I feel like we're here, is because we all get completely nerdy and we geek out over
fangirl
things like
so
this.
hard over these artists.
Well, you gotta respect it.
These are the low finer things.
Those small little gems that you find within this culture. I went online yesterday and I downloaded a few little sound effects that I'm gonna start to like include in some of my beats.
Yes.
Can you delve in on that a little bit deeper?
Yes, I'm so excited. So like one of them I got is the grabbing of a coin sound from Super Mario is one of them.
Beautiful. I just thought of Wax immediately.
Another one was it was the barking raptor from the original Jurassic Park like kitchen scene.
Oh Christ.
Like just like that loud like croaky like I'll throw that. I've actually sampled that before on a record that we released like a long time ago. I like pitched it down a little bit, layered it with a kick drum, and put like a little bit of reverb on it, and it was so badass and like just
damn, dude.
it fit the beat. I'll send it to you guys later. Like it's
please do.
So
I want to
good.
hear that.
I'm afraid you're gonna like sample some of the stuff we're saying in this podcast.
I'm okay with that.
If somebody says something funny, I definitely will.
Oh man, I'm hilarious.
There could be like a little low finer things that I can like pluck from something if it
that's
fits
good.
like what I'm going for. Like that's gonna be like the tag moving forward. Now that we've officially like recorded, you don't think I'm not putting that in the Instagram bio as soon as I get off of here? Ooh-wee. Crookedfoot, Lo-Fi Dad, co-host at the Low Finer Things. I'm there. Like Whitley said, like the Instagram account was gaining followers before we even mentioned
It
anything.
currently has, I'm glad you asked, I was literally just looking at that. It has 45 followers currently.
What?
And only 8 of those are people within the Low Finer Things group.
Collective.
Collective.
There,
Oh my God.
See, little gem
How?
there.
So
Just know the names that good.
with absolutely zero content other than the profile picture that I created for it, has garnered 45 followers in a month? That's more than I have in a month. And I'm a cute girl posting fun spacey music stuff.
Instagram is so like finicky. Like I find I hobble and kind of bounce in between like 530 and 540 followers, and then like I'll gain 5 but I'll lose 12, and then I'll gain a few. Social media is like so weird like that, and I've finally gotten away from that mentality of
Caring how many followers you have.
the more followers means the more listens on my music and stuff, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Like
No, sadly not.
The quality of your followers is more important than the quantity of your followers.
absolutely.
And that's a Low
100%
Finer
agree.
thing.
No, and that's
Oh.
not just a Low Finer thing. Like it should be a mindset.
It's a life thing.
Like, and a life thing, honestly. Like people put too much value in the followers, and I find myself doing it too from time to time. Like this is not something that I don't want to be so caught up in the numbers.
I'm so bad at Instagram. I keep forgetting it exists for like a week on end, but I'll answer my messages. But like content, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to post something? Oh, frig. I'm so bad
And like
for
me,
that.
it was never about like getting big. That's never been my mission. I just want to like connect with people behind music, and I've also seen connections I've made like through my content and what I share on Instagram, and that's really cool.
That is really nice.
That's what this is, connecting dots, right?
It's funny you say that, because I've often referred to myself sometimes as like a professional dot connector.
You are though.
Oh,
I put
100%.
so much emphasis on pushing other people's music before my own, almost, in a sense, sometimes, where like Whitley said, she found me on Reddit because I was like, oh hey, like you can check out my stuff too. I'm sure like I know the post that you were talking about as well, and I probably recommended like 3 or 4 artists before I even mentioned myself.
I actually believe you did.
It's not surprising in the slightest.
Don't get me wrong, I love when people listen to my stuff. I love when people listen to my music. I love being the center of attention in that regard. But also, like, if somebody's like, oh hey, what are some really dope lo-fi artists to check out? And I'll give you 6 or 7, and then I'll be like, if you're inclined, you can also like check out my music too. Like, I never want to be the dude that's like, check out my music, check out my music, check out my music. I unfollow people that constantly like just inbox me and they're like, check this out, go like this. I'm like, nah, I'm good, fam. Like,
That's why
I'm
I've got
okay.
that one guy blocked. Just don't do that stuff.
We could probably write a book on etiquette and how to send people your music. And
As like a music promoter myself,
you get it.
I get a lot. It's kind of overwhelming at times, and then I go through quiet periods, and then I'll get a lot. Sometimes it's not even what I would even play on my show, but the fact that I have a show, people think that they're just gonna get played.
Have you ever gotten country music?
Country, no. I don't want to out any artists, but some that very
It's
just. And I feel like I don't want to genreize it either because I don't want to call anybody out. Just not the vibe of my show. And they're like, play my music. And it's like, have you even listened to my show?
I'm gonna start sending you death metal. Play this on your show.
Yes, almost. Not death metal, but essentially.
Right? Like, come on.
It's like, this is not... And, you know, I've had to respectfully decline a few artists. Just, sorry, it doesn't really fit my show, and I can't really... You know, I've made some stuff work that maybe wouldn't be, you know, the typical of what I'd play genre-wise, but I do what I can to represent people.
That's because you're kind-hearted.
How do some artists take it when you have to like politely decline their submission?
Do you know
question.
of anybody else on your station who would play it? Is one.
That's fair. I feel like that's a fair question.
Yeah.
There is.
You know, and I can steer them in the right direction sometimes. Sadly, I'm not familiar with every show on my station, but there's lots, so.
I would assume so.
But that's the beauty of community radio. There's lots of different programming.
True.
Support your community radio stations, people.
That's right. Well, and that's exactly it. And that's what we're doing here. I feel like one of the reasons that I wanted to have you be a part of the show is because you are such an asset in that regard. Is your knowledge of this culture, your the way that you present your show to people on social media and the way that you speak about it. I was like, man, like this would be like a perfect fit. And it's crazy that it came about this way, because the only reason that I made the group on Instagram initially, like the Low Finer Things group, was to introduce you guys to Andrew and show you guys his beats.
Such a guy.
He's such a gem.
Right? Oh, 100% beauty.
Just a absolute massive Viking of a human being who makes like the craziest beats as well.
And his cats are adorable.
His cats are adorable. I'm getting cats this weekend. I'm excited.
Right, I remember you saying that.
Yes.
I expect pictures.
I shouldn't say I'm getting cats. My girlfriend is getting cats, and I will just be an owner by proxy, I guess.
Hey,
But no, the
beautiful
whole
thing.
Low Finer Things came about because Andrew and I were talking about how he knows some of the people within like this space, but he doesn't know a lot of them. And I was like, hold up, this is a really good opportunity. And then same thing, like Noble as well makes crazy fire beats as an artist too. And he and I have spoken before. I knew he was familiar with Khal to a certain extent, but I hadn't really gotten to a point to see if they had crossed paths. Whitley, I don't think you knew him until
I've known him for a long time.
Have you?
For
Okay,
a while
okay.
now. I did meet him like before Christmas. We had connected,
Okay.
I think, early December.
Okay.
When I'd done the Sask Music Awards.
True.
That's when I had first connected with him, and he was like, "Yo, Crookedfoot says you're awesome."
Oh,
Sounds about right. I don't know if I said it exactly like that, but yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
accent
believe
was
he
there.
reached out to me, and yeah, we're good friends now, just like we all are here. So
That just goes to show like how small this space actually is. like you said, I was under the impression like maybe a couple of these people hadn't spoke to you guys before, and then you're like, oh yeah, I've been talking to that guy for like 4 months. I'm like, cool,
Yeah.
all right, perfect, this is great then. Like, cool, awesome introduction.
It will flow like water.
Like when I connected the dots that you two knew each other, and when I saw that you guys had a track together, I was like, wait, what? You guys know each other?
A few, actually, now that I think
Just a
about
couple.
Which
Yeah, you
is
know.
great.
A few. Right?
And now we're
They
on
get better
to-
and better.
They really do. I think we're probably due for another collab tape, to be completely
You're not
honest.
wrong. Yeah, there's so much to play with now.
We
It's
got to
about
do
right.
more than 7 this time, though.
Okay.
We'll do like 14, 15,
Oh, that's so easy.
and just like smash it. The last tape came together so quickly and so easily.
Right? Just sat in the shed with the MPC.
And it worked out perfect because like I had some loops that I wasn't completely sold on. Like I liked them as loops, I guess I could say, but as like the drums I put on them, I wasn't a huge fan of. And then I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'll send these to Khal. What's the worst that happens? He sends me something back. I'm not a huge fan of it. And they just sit as loops for the duration of time. I think we finished that project probably within like 2 days.
Yeah, no, it was really fast.
It was quick. It's always so fast when you have somebody who, like, one. I think you were off too because of your knee.
Yeah, that was 90 injury time too.
Yeah.
What else do I got better to do, right?
Pretty much it. I've got a week off work coming up here, and I'm going to crush so many beats. I'm due for another one, and I'm actually going to put some time and effort into some content for it, and
Oh, give it the
put
full
some
Joey.
plays. Yeah, it's going to get the full Joey, the full Goodfoot treatment.
Oh, I like that.
It'll be really, really good, I think.
I'm sitting on 10 songs that are like all from an orchestral jazz album that I found.
That's perfect.
I'm just waiting. I don't know why. Just have to name them and put them in an order.
Put it out.
But I'm like, yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah, why not? Whitley, I'm going to tailor this question differently for you, though. But Khal, how do you know when you're done a project? Like, what is it that does it?
Oh, just this weird brain tech where I'm like, nope, that's it.
You're just done. You're just like, yeah,
Yep.
that's enough.
And not in like a negative way. I'm just like, this sounds right. I ride weird brain waves a lot, so I'll just suddenly be like, good, need more, stop.
I like that. I explained this to Whitley at some point. Maybe I've said it to you as well, but like for me, like my project isn't done until I find like that one closing song. And it's like I'll listen through like everything, like I'll have my track list done and I'll be like, yep, this is it. These tracks are gonna go here. This is it. I have 14, 15 songs, like we're good. But then I'll be like, I need something to close this with. Like the closing just isn't right for me.
That makes a lot of sense.
I like to go out on a high note. Even if the song before it's kind of like down tempo and stuff, like I want to go out. So like if you listen to Joey, for example, like Winner's Circle is what I went out on. Goodfoot, I went out on Glory Days. And I remember like the project was done. I had everything on that project done. And then I found like this crazy horn sample and I was like, this is the outro. This is the outro. Like I was completely okay with like Charged Up being the last song on that tape if it had to be. But then I found the sample for Glory Days and I was streaming that day actually. I found it while I was on stream and I was like, yo, this is it. Like this is
that's even better.
This is the closing track. Cookies for Breakfast as well. I have Communiplex into Selly for the closer. And then like to me that's another one where it's just like perfect. Abracadabra, I had Rainfall. So like I'll structure everything out and then I'll go on the hunt for like the last song.
Oh, I like that. I really like that.
It's weird, it's good, it's how I like to do things. Whitley, for you, when you're listening to a project, how do you like, do you know what, like you're listening to something and you're just like, nah, it's not complete. They dropped the ball on this one, or like it goes out like on a low note. What to you is like the perfect ending to like an album that you're really, really into?
That's not how I thought you were going to rephrase that question for me. I had such a different answer planned.
What did you think I was going to say?
How I decide when my show's like how to end my show.
Well, let's go with that first, and then
Okay.
from the listener standpoint too. I want to know what to you creates a perfect ending. So how do you create, when you're curating a playlist, how do you go, what's your thought process behind it?
Oh, that varies from show to show, but I often like to end off with like a love song, even if it's not relevant to my own love life, just because I like to spread love and I have a soft spot for a good love song. But as for how do I know if like a project is complete that I'm listening to from an artist, that's really hard to say because I do think it varies a lot. But there's definitely times where I've heard projects and I'm like, this is what you're going with? This is complete to you?
Ooh, I hate that feeling.
And it's like, why did you put this beat tape, quote unquote, out? And it just feels like it's lacking, and it's like 3 1-minute tracks. 3 1-minute tracks can be really good, but they just seemed muted, I guess.
That's a really good way of putting it. Sometimes like it just feels rushed.
Yeah, like you're putting it out just to put it out.
Yes.
And although I'm a big supporter of like, put it out, man.
Just put it out. But like, don't.
There's also, don't just be cranking it out when it's not it either.
Yes, at the same time, it's like there's gotta be
that quality over quantity
yes, thing. There needs to be quality behind it. Like, I will support a lot of so decent projects because of the name behind them, but there's a difference between like leaving your fans wanting more and intentionally giving them less because you just wanted to put something out.
Dare I may also add, sometimes there's a project and it's like, why is this project so big? Why is this album so long? This could be 2 albums or like a 2-part album.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that comes with, some of it is ego, I think, with certain artists. And this is going to sound bad, but I don't care. But some artists think that they're bigger than they are because inflated followers or the purchasing of streams and things of that nature is because they get 200,000 streams on Spotify because they paid for 195,000 of them. They think that they're bigger than they are. And then you're at a point where it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna take this to Bandcamp. I have this massive following. Let me give them a 30-song beat tape for my first release on here because they'll see that, they'll see all the beats, I'll make a ton of money. It's like, that's not the case. It's, your numbers are inflated and you think that maybe you're a little bit bigger than you are. I would, if somebody gave me, which is not out of the ordinary at all, but like a 30-track Madlib beat tape or a 30-track Dilla beat tape, I'm like, this ain't enough. I need more of this.
100%.
But I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear 30 tracks from Joe Schmo who just started making beats on Reddit and is just putting out a tape to put it out because
you were gonna
he's
hate
trying
my
to make
first
a few
album
dollars.
then.
And that's where we're at. And it's just like, give me, if I'm just coming across your tape and you're putting it out on Reddit, and this is me as a fan speaking, give me 12 songs. 12 1.5 2-minute beats that are your best beats ever. And then I can go into your back catalog and start finding the stuff that I want. I'm sorry, but a lot of producers out there aren't Dilla. They're not Madlib. They're not Impression, for example. I bought an Impression album and I think there was 20 some beats on that bitch. And I was like, all right, this is perfect. Because I like Impression. He's built a reputation for having dope beats. I didn't skip a single one.
I think as we wrap things up here, we should do our artist recommendation for the evening. I'll go first. Artist or producer recommendation to check out.
To piece out from the debut, the inaugural, the first official Low Finer Things Epi. Ooh, I said Epi. Gross.
Mad Seedling from St. Catherine, Ontario. He is one of the founders of the Lo-Fi Festival in Toronto, part of the Lo-Fi Festival Global Concert Series. And he's out there pushing hard. And his music is absolutely awesome. I love his beats. Highly recommend checking him out. And he's a really good dude, too. And super knowledgeable.
Just a dope person in general.
Yeah.
Very much in tune and a giver to the culture, first and foremost.
100%.
Cal, what about you?
I'm gonna go to the Philippines. My buddy Tossed Onion.
I love Tossed Onion.
Dude, he's just talking people as a person. He's such a nice human being. Like, we've had so many good conversations.
I need you to send me a link. I'm not familiar.
I love his song 7-Eleven Lullaby. That's a fave of mine.
Oh, and he started he started singing a lot and stuff with recently. And it's adorable. The kid, I genuinely swear he's gonna end up somewhere big one day.
I love when you can predict that about somebody just because you know they're just a dope human being.
Yep.
Or they're it, right?
Something
Yes.
about the guy, man. I'm just like, this kid's gonna do something big with his life.
I love it. On my end, I think just because of the fact that this is what's brought me to this point, this is what's got me here, this is what's gotten all of us together, this is what has rekindled my love for beat culture and helped to get me there. I've dropped his name throughout the show a couple times, but I'm gonna go with DiBiase.
How did I know?
Because that's what got me here. When I was laid up with my busted leg, it was podcasts with DiBiase and interviews with DiBiase. So if you guys get the opportunity to check out Baker's Dozen and you don't mind some serious swing on your drums and like some neck snapping breaks, DiBiase is the go-to. He's half man, half machine. He's legitimately, I'm fully convinced he's half SP404 at this point. He's an absolute freak on that thing. And you talk about people that do a lot for the culture and give before they receive. This would be one of them.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm a fan. Dope people over everything. Dope people
Right?
over everything.
Personality matters.
True that. Whitley, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Spotify, and Bandcamp at Whitley360. That's 360. You can also find Lunar Lounge, my radio show, on the cjtr.ca website under the shows listing. Just look for Lunar Lounge.
Cal, what about you? Where can everybody find you?
Just the simple at Khal Kappa on all social medias. And then we go just bandcamp.com/Khal Kappa. All that on the streaming services. It's all the same.
For myself, it's Crookedfoot Lo-Fi on everything, on all, not all, never mind, not all streaming platforms, only on Bandcamp, Instagram, and then also don't forget, for the first time we get to plug this, follow us on Instagram at the
Lo-Fi Things.
Ooh, I like that. You did it way better than I did.
That was beautiful.